Ladies and gentlemen, we are here with the live stream today. What's going on there? I appreciate you for tuning in. If you are live, appreciate you for tuning in live. If you are going to be watching this post stream, appreciate you for tuning in after that. I got two guests with me today talking about this Week 15 matchup. It's going to be the New England Patriots versus the Indianapolis Colts. We're going to start off with my guy here at the bottom of the screen, Mr. 19K. Colts coverage, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Hey, man, I'm good. Can't complain right now. And then on my left-hand side, which is going to be right, we got the great Patriot here. I almost called you by the Twitter name. Number one in the AFC, as you can see from his name. How you doing tonight, Patriots fan?
I'm doing great. You know, like the name says, number one seed in the AFC. You know, we got the jersey repping, but it's getting a little chilly out here. It's a little. Might need to put a hoodie on. Oh, what? Oh, Super Bowl. Super Bowl champions.
He already starting.
It's a little chilly. Super Bowl champions. I had to choose. I had like about 3 different hoodies I could have chose from like the past 10 years or so. I just chose the most recent one. You know, where's your Super Bowl hoodie at? You know, it's been a while. Where's your Super Bowl?
It's actually disgusting. I thought you was gonna put on your Tampa Bay gear, but you know it's okay.
Wow, that's what we doing. Hey man, hey look, he's still watching. He's still watching. He's still watching.
Now that that's over, let's go ahead and hop into the chat real quick. We got some people that stopped by. Tino, what's going on? We got Jordan in the chat. Tino again, Cold Squad Facts. What up, Joe? How you doing? MT Payne, shout out to you for stopping by. Rosa's in here. What's going on, man? We are definitely in the mix tonight. Going to be talking Patriots versus Colts, which is going to be a good showdown. I think the Colts need this victory more than the Patriots, even though the Patriots do need to do this to solidify the number one seed because it looks like the Chiefs is going to win tonight. So let's go ahead and hop into it. We're going to start off with the great Patriot. The Patriots are having themselves a very solid season. I will give you credit to that. Let me get your thoughts on how the Patriots are playing so far.
So I said when the season first started, after all the adjustments, I knew last year was going to be bad. I said this year, at least 10-7 with the new game. I said, we got to go 10-7 wild card. That's the bare minimum I expected from Bill Belichick and everything. And when we started off a little sluggish, I said, yo, Bill, once we got to that Bucs game, I said, Bill, rent is due. Like, it's not going to look good for legacy-wise. You know, Brady leaves. He's doing all this stuff. I said, Bill, you got to step it up. And he started stepping it up. If you looked at the games early on, people wanted to say it was, y'all would be better with Cam Newton. And no shade to Cam Newton, but if you were watching the Patriot games, it wasn't Mac Jones' fault. They really wasn't giving him the opportunities to win the game, but he wasn't losing the games. It was, fumble by the running back. He can't control that. Defense not making stop. He really can't control that. So the way that we're playing, and I thought once we got Jonnu Smith and Hunter Henry, run the football, we have a good offensive line. Let's do some run football, play action, keep it nice and simple. And that's pretty much the game plan that we've been rocking with in the defense. I knew he was going to be good. Didn't think we was going to be this great. Matthew Judon, oh my God, he's a godsend. Thank you to the Baltimore Ravens. Shout out to y'all for not being able to use him right. Bill Belichick got him looking like one of the best pass rushers based on this season alone. J.C. Jackson, who Dom knows, he loves and everything. He's been looking better and better. He still has a little ways to go, but he's been looking better and better, second in league in interceptions. But this year with the Patriots, I'm satisfied. And I wasn't expecting a division title. I was just hoping we just got to take it to the dance. And at this point, shoot, I'm ready for a bye week in the playoffs. So, but we got to go ahead and handle business against the Colts because they are a very, very formidable opponent, and they got it going too later on the season too.
Yeah, absolutely. Patriots definitely overseeded expectations, in my opinion. Now we're going to drop it down to Colts coverage at the bottom. Let me get your thoughts on how you think the Patriots played so far this season.
I was surprised, to be honest, with the amount of success they have been having. I expected an adjustment period after Brady left, but a 1-year turnaround was not something I was expecting, especially with Mac Jones playing pretty well, all things considered. Not turning the ball over. He's kind of like Carson Wentz in a sense of this season. Like, he hasn't been making the dumb throws. He's been smart with the football. Your run game is crazy. Like, that has been really good. We both starched the Bills on the ground. But
yes.
I've been impressed. I've been impressed.
Yeah, man, for sure. I've definitely been impressed as well. Before I get into my thoughts, I think definitely the Eagles might walk away with that due to the injuries that the Washington football team have. They're missing a very big piece on their edge rush. even though their defense is still solid, but I think the Eagles will win that. Um, but yeah, like I said, the Patriots definitely oversee the expectations. They're playing some good football. They still got some kinks to work out. They're not perfect. No team is perfect right now in the NFL, in my opinion. Every season, every game is winnable. Like I mentioned last week, I seen the Detroit Lions win a football game, so I think anybody can win a football game at any given moment. So,
That's true.
like I said, the Patriots are definitely having themselves a really good season. Their future is bright. Bill Belichick is a mastermind and working with pieces and figuring things out. Like I said, it wasn't all Brady. It wasn't all Bill Belichick. It was a 50-50 give and go. They were a perfect match. And I think they're better off, as you guys can tell, apart as well. So, like I said, they're both benefiting from each other at the end of the day, and they're both great talents at the end of the day. It's unfortunate I have to say this about Tom Brady, but it is what it is. But we're going to move forward and talk about a very key pivotal assignment, and that's going to be the run game for the Indianapolis Colts. A lot of people, Colts fans, would love to see Jonathan Taylor run the football all day, and I'm going to drop it down to Colts coverage. How do you think the run game is going to work against this top stellar defense in the New England Patriots?
So I hate to be the bearer of bad news for most Colts fans, but we're gonna have to rely on Carson Wentz. I don't think JT will get his. He'll have some good runs, but as our sole weapon, that's not gonna happen. It's Bill Belichick. He knows how to take away JT, and he's going to do it eventually. I don't think we'll see him completely phased out how we did in the Bucks game, but I don't think it's just going to be the JT show. I think Carson Wentz is going to have to put the team on his back and deliver some big time throws.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, Patriots, it's up to you.
Hey, everybody knows Bill Belichick's motto. Whatever you do best, he's going to take that away. He say, you know what? We're not going to let A, we might not even let B. If C, D, E, if those weapons beat us, we'll live with that. So I see us with Lawrence guy in the middle is pretty good. Judon, who's really good a run stop, but that's the one thing he did really well in Baltimore. So he's going to be able there to set the edges and stuff. And I feel like that we're probably going to have, because y'all go with a lot of shotgun, like 3 wide receiver sets. So I probably would see about nickel dime look. You'll see Kyle Duggar, who's coming back. He's our leading tackle, actually. He's like the box safety a little bit, so he should be in there. But I do think Jonathan Taylor is going to get his, obviously. Do I think he's going to get like 100, 125 yards? Maybe not, depending on if he gets a long run, then obviously he'll get that. But I can see him going for about 70, 80 on 20 or some odd carries, but it just all depends. Is he going to get those 4 yards of carry? Is it going to be like on a 3rd and 3? Is it going to be on a 2nd and 7 to make it 3rd and 1, make it help it out with that? And I think that's all Belichick wants to manage. And I think, honestly, when you look at these two teams, it's honestly similar. Both of us need to run the football to succeed. So it's going to be a great matchup.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely a big toss-up as well, even though the betting odds got the Colts favorite right now, but it's definitely still a toss-up no matter what. We all would love to see the Colts run the football, but we all know personally, watching this Colts team throughout this whole season, we know the Colts come out fire in the first half pretty much every single week. And if we can get that type of momentum in the first half against this team, I think that'll solidify the lead and we can pretty much be comfortable enough to finish it off. But we're going to get into that later. We're going to go ahead and hop into the injury report. Joe asks, how is the Patriots injury report looking?
Yeah. So, first things first, if you know the pace, Bill Belichick. If he can put you on the injury report, you're going on the injury report. You're questionable. You're a game time decision, all that stuff. He's been doing it forever. Damian Harris, that's pretty much the only big news on the report. David Andrews, I think he's going to play. He should be able to play. Adrian Phillips, maybe not too because he got injured. But again, we're coming off a bye week. Brandon Bolden, I think he should be good to go. Trent Brown, he should be good to go. The biggest one is Damian Harris, obviously. Even though, the Colts more so have Jonathan Taylor and they go as he goes. We kind of run by committee. That's how Belichick always runs it. But Damian Harris is the one that starts it off. He had that big run against the Bills. It pretty much was the play of the game. It's like a 67-yard run, and he pulled his hamstring on that run. And he wasn't able to finish the game. So don't know if they're going to hold him out. Just say, you know what? Let's see what Stevenson got. If Bolden can go, Harris take the day off and, get better. So that's really the only injury that's really concerning. But everybody else, if you're starting, you should play. Besides him and Adrian Phillips, and then Nick Folk is on the injury report, which I don't like, but that's another story for another day.
Yeah, I know, right? And for the Colts injury report, Eric, do you know anything about it?
Yeah. So Bobby Okereke, he's been out this whole week, but he is supposed to play. He has a non-COVID illness. Ryan Kelly is questionable with knee/illness, but he hasn't been ruled out. But other than that, we're pretty clean. Jack Doyle was the only other player that was kind of questionable, but he was a full participant today, so they expect him to go.
All right, that's good. That's good to hear, definitely for the Colts, because we're going to need all type of talent on the field against this Patriots team, because we know Bill Belichick has something up his sleeve. You heard Carson Wentz said in the interview, and this is no pun intended, but they got a history. But I think they will have something up their sleeve in this game. Moving forward, after bringing up the injuries, we're going to go ahead and talk about the offense for the Colts. The offense for the Colts, a lot of people talk about the run game, but a lot of people seem to forget about primetime football for these wide receivers. The wide receivers have shown up in these primetime games for the Colts. Big game ahead of us. Coach Frank knows how big this game got to be. They talk about they played We Ready at practice today, and they said that song's not motivational enough. They got to go out there and execute. So we're going to go ahead and talk about this. We know Bill Belichick's been watching film since 1975, and he still does it to this day. He's an old head. He still watch old head films, and he still executing it. It's working right now. They're the number one in the AFC. Maybe some teams got to do that. But for this receiving group, T.Y. Hilton talks about how he's always double. Michael Pittman Jr. always shows up in primetime games. How do you think this Colts offense, passing-wise, could work against the Patriots? And we're going to go to the great Patriot first.
Yeah, I think the Colts offense can work really well. What I would have to guess, the big matchup, obviously, that everybody's going to look out for is J.C. Jackson versus Michael Pittman Jr. I know Michael Pittman had a rough year last year, and people was, even made jokes and everything. It's like, dang, you don't want to give his number to Carson Wentz, but he's balled out this year. I've liked watching him play. But so is J.C. Jackson. So that's an interesting matchup. In terms of T.Y. Hilton getting double team, pretty much probably should expect the same. I think with Jalen Mills, who he's bound to get cooked, he's probably going to have Devin McCourty over the top. So T.Y. Hilton doesn't get the deep shots. Maybe if T.Y., get the intermediate stuff, he may be able to get that. But in terms of like that deep pass, unless there's just a blown coverage from there, I think Bill Belichick's like, look, we take away T.Y. Hilton deep shot, we'll live with all the underneath check down stuff that he gets. So, but I think the Colts can have some success on the offense, especially with the tight ends. I think they can do a little bit good with that. And again, if by some chance y'all get our linebackers out like Dante Hightower, Kyle Van Noy, who they're good run stoppers, really Dante Hightower, but you get those guys out in coverage and good luck. That's how you're going to kill us. Easy completion every time.
All right, Colts coverage. How do you think the offense will work in the pass game for the Colts?
I think we're going to see a lot of slants and short crossers. I mean, I think we'll put T.Y. just how T.Y. does. He'll go for long bombs and hope to get open, but I'd expect to see a lot of short crossing routes and slants and stuff to the outside just to get the ball out of Wentz's hand fast, because this hasn't been talked a lot about yet, but Judon versus Eric Fisher. I'm not looking forward to that. Eric Fisher is going to be like a cooked fish during this matchup. I don't expect it to be pretty. Carson Wentz is going to have to get the ball out pretty quick, so I think they have to rely on quick passes. I don't want Carson Wentz holding on the ball for 3 seconds looking for deep shots down the field. I don't think we can get away with that this game.
There's one silver lining, though. There's one silver lining with Judon with Eric Fisher. They always say double team. It got arguably the best offensive lineman in the game as the guard, so shoot. Big Q over there, and I'm like, dang, Judon, you're going to have to eat that.
Yeah, for sure. We know the game plan is going to have Ashton Dulin involved. We're definitely going to see if they're going to be involved. He's had himself a nice little 3-week spread, in my opinion. So I know he's going to be involved a lot next on Saturday, going up against the Patriots. A lot of people are talking about this might be Carson Wentz's best game this year. They're putting high expectations going into Carson. We all know how Coach Frank Wright draws up a great scheme on offense for the design plays that he draws up. I know Bill Belichick knows about that a lot. He's old up in age, so he's bigger. I know he's holding something in. I know he cannot wait to play Coach Frank Wright one more time, especially after the last meeting when they played. But, hey, man, this is going to be a big game for Carson Wentz. I do agree. There's going to be a lot at stake here. The season is pretty much on the line for the Colts. They have to go out there and execute. Like I said, we know Pascal hasn't been talked about. He might get involved this week. T.Y. Hilton's going to be shadowed. Michael Pittman Jr. is going to be shadowed. So we're going to need someone that's not a star to go out there and make some noise. Maybe get a big game from Big Mo, possibly, finally. We know how good Jack Doyle is on primetime. He definitely stepped up to the plate when we didn't expect it. He's a good blocker as well. We're going to need some tight end help on the side to help Eric Fisher this week because we know he's cooked food no matter who's guarding him. He's still recovering from injury, air quote. But either him or Naheem Hines going to have to be involved this week as well. We know they're going to be dialing in on Jonathan Taylor, so we're going to have to get some more running backs involved. Hey, even if you know how good Coach Frank Reich is, he might even add Deion Jackson into the lineup. He's another running back that can be explosive at any moment. We just have to switch it up. And we know primetime games, the Colts come out hot in the first half. We're going to have to see some type of different scheme than what we're usually seeing. And I'm pretty sure he can have a big game come out of anybody, especially when we're talking about a guy like Kyle Granson. Joe just mentioned up. He's another person, a tight end that can have him a nice game. Anything is possible on a Saturday night football game. Now, after talking about this Colts offense, we got to talk about this Patriots offense. Fresh, hot, all types of targets all over the field, except for Jacoby Myers. But they got talent all over the place. And one place is that the Colts do not like to see talent is on the tight end core. The tight end core for the Patriots are solid. Hunter Henry and, Jonnu Smith, who happens to be a former AFC South rival. He played for those stinking Tennessee Titans. But they do have a very good tight end core, and Mac Jones is hot. But I will say this. He is a rookie, and what does rookies do? Rookies make rookie mistakes. We know what happens when you send pressure to Mac Jones. The offensive line for the Patriots is good, but it's not great. They do have holes, and they do get fatigued, just like every other offensive line. If the edge rush can step up for the Colts, this can be a very interesting game. The New England Patriots offense, let me know, how do you think they should plan out for this game on Saturday?
Well, first things first, it's not going to be a repeat of our last game where we only threw 3 passes. That's not going to get the job done this week. And Bill Belichick knows that, obviously. I think, if the game would have had a chance, he would go with that. Kendrick Bourne, a guy who we signed in free agency, one of the free agent pickups, him and Mac Jones has been on it together for the past 2-3 weeks. He's been cooking. Hunter Henry, for some reason, he always seems to find the end zone. He doesn't have too many yards, but he has 7 touchdowns this year. And I think he had a streak of 4 or 5 straight, which ended about a week or 2 ago. So I think it's going to be a lot of, we're not going to take any deep shots, though. Our deep shot receiver really is Nelson Aguilar, and you know how that really is. He hasn't really done too much. So it's going to be similar to, what you said earlier, check downs, crossers, screens, some slants and everything. N'Keal Harry, who's a guy who's a first-round pick, really just an extra blocker out there. He does pretty good at blocking, but he ain't catching them all. So I expect to see a lot of Kendrick Bourne. I expect to see a lot of Jacoby Myers in the fold, and then probably more Jonnu Smith. They're starting to use him more with the 2 tight end role, having Jonnu Smith in the backfield, have him motion out a little bit, do some tight end screens with them. So I think, again, short yard passes. Bill Belichick, Josh McDaniels, they pretty much have said, look, Mac, we're not going to have you throw the ball down the field. One, we really don't have a deep threat, but we don't want you to put it in the harm's way. Just go ahead, take the 3-4 yard gain. If we don't get the first down, we'll punt it away. We have one of the best punters in the game in Jake Bailey, and go from there. So I'll expect us, short slants, all that action. And if the run game gets going, that play action game is deadly, especially when you got Jonnu Smith and Hunter Henry going up the seams.
We're going to head hop into Eric. How do you think this offense for the Patriots is probably going to pan out on Saturday night?
The middle is always open. The Colts defense always gives up the middle of the field. I'm scared with Hunter Henry and Jonnu Smith. Colts have always struggled against decent tight ends. And with the middle of the field always being open, we have to find a way to stop that. Because Mac Jones will have a field day just throwing 10 to 12 yards beyond the line of scrimmage to Jonnu Smith right in the middle. Our linebackers sometimes struggle in coverage. That's no secret. They're not bad, but they're not the greatest. And they'll probably look to utilize that because, everyone knows Darius Leonard is a punch-out machine now. He's a tackling machine. But if there's one way you can exploit him, it's in coverage. If you get him out in coverage, you'll see some holes in his game. So I think we'll see a lot of outside runs as well. I don't think they'll run it just straight up the middle. I think they'll look to attack our edge rushers and make them go into space and get everyone out in space and leave the middle of the field, wide open per usual. And
Alright.
Eberflus is going to have to figure out a way to stop that.
Yeah, he's definitely gonna have to draw something nice. I mean, he did before in that Buffalo's Bills game. Even though he was switching up coverages middle of the play, if he can get something like that going this week, it'll be great. But if he doesn't, he will be exposed on Hard Knocks. And I think we all know that. But yeah, Joe asks, how do you think? How is the Patriots special teams?
Oh, our special teams is very good, top notch. I mean, outside the kicking game, but in terms of punt coverage and all that stuff, because Bill Belichick, he cares about the little things, and one thing he talks about is always that you hear coaches say, special teams is what wins you games. That's why you get yourself a Jake Bailey, one of the best punters who can literally flip the field. We can be at the 20-yard line, and he can go ahead and punt it, pin you back inside your own 20. Our gunners, Matthew Slater, who everybody knows, all Pro Bowler every single year that he's pretty much been healthy. Then we also have Justin Bethel too, another guy. So our special teams is pretty good. Now our kicking game, if the field goal is 40 yards and in, I'm confident. Once we get to 41, 42, a little dicey there. A little dicey. Nick Folk don't got the best leg, but he's kind of accurate though. But 40 yards and in, I'm good. Especially in the dome, I'm good. Go 45 and before, I'm holding my breath a little bit.
All right. Before we hop into the score predictions, I don't want to hold you guys too late. I want to ask a personal question. If there was one team that you did not want to see going into the playoffs, what would that team be? First, I'm going to give it to the Great Patriot.
The one team that I don't want to see, and we're just talking about in our conference, right?
Yeah, it's not being scared of them or anything. It's just one thing that's just going to be like, that's one team I don't want to face.
Matchup-wise, well, there's two teams that I don't want to face, and they're for different reasons. The first team is the Bills, just because playing a team 3 times in a year is hard, especially if we got to play them after we play you guys. So even if we beat the Bills, although we beat them twice, I don't feel too confident because, again, now that they have 2 losses on them, they can learn so much more than what we did, and it'll be 2 totally different games. So I don't want to see the Bills just to see them 3 times, and then after that, I honestly don't want to see if the Colts able to make it, either the Colts or the Titans, the Chiefs. The Chiefs, just because that's a shootout. And I don't think Mac Jones is built for a shootout. Although the Chiefs defense isn't that bad, we all know Mahomes could score like this at a drop of a hat now. They're getting it going. So honestly, I would probably say the Bills, and then after that, it'll probably be the Chiefs, and then I'll put y'all honorable mention just because y'all built like us, so it can be a real grimy, fight it out game, and comes down to last possession. So those 2 and 3 teams.
All right. It's up to Colts coverage. What is one team, or maybe 2, that you will not want to face in the playoffs?
First one would be Chiefs, simply because it's a shootout, and I feel like sometimes, playing the Chiefs, they get a certain amount of calls that go their way that kind of make your head scratch. You're like, is that so? So I don't really want to play them, especially in Arrowhead. We'd most likely be going to Arrowhead in that situation. And then I'd probably say the Patriots, simply because we all know the history. I'm not really scared of the history anymore. It's just that it's Bill Belichick, and we would play him twice. And there's so much information to be learned just playing one time. And Bill, he doesn't need a lot of time to adjust. So if we come out and spark him this game, next game is going to be a whole lot closer just because of adjustments. So probably the Chiefs and Patriots are the 2 I wouldn't want to face.
Yeah, I definitely agree. My number 1 team will probably be the Chiefs. The Chiefs is a team that is just air it out. And the scheme that we run on defense is just open holes no matter where you are on the field. And a gadget guy like Tyreek Hill or McCole Harmon or maybe even Travis Kelce will just feast on that defense of the Colts run. And it's unfortunate, but I know we'll send pressure in the first half, but it's just not consistent enough. And that's just one team that I wouldn't want to face in the playoffs, because I'm already stressed off enough when we're in the playoffs and facing a team like Mahomes that's going to get away with, pretty much anything. And the pass rush isn't consistent as we want it to be. That's one team I would probably not want to face in the playoffs. So, it's no, for the people in the comment section watching this video, when you mention a team that you don't want to face, it has nothing to do with being fear of them. It's just knowing that the expectations are probably not going to be as high as you want it to be when you do face them. But
can we do who we want to see now?
Yeah, absolutely. All right, we're going to go with you first. What's one team you want to see?
Titans. Easiest matchup.
You said the Titans cook food?
Easy win. Yes, I would love to pull them wild card round.
Okay. All right, up to you, Patriot.
I
Say
would
the
love
Titans, please.
for the sake of the content, Titans. Why not? we already spanked the once. Hey.
Yeah, I think everybody would want to play the Titans right now because they're pretty much, even though they do rumor that Derrick Henry might be available to come back in the playoffs.
But really though, I would love to play the Cleveland Browns. They would somehow make it. Oh my goodness. I know Bill Belichick gonna feel it because we're gonna stop the run. We're gonna just put 8 in the box where look, Baker Mayfield, you're gonna have to throw for 400 yards and not throw 2-3 interceptions. And we all know he's gonna throw that in the playoff time. So I would love to face the Cleveland Browns. Not really the Ravens, because I don't feel like dealing with Lamar Jackson running around. We don't do good with mobile quarterbacks, but they got a lot of injuries. So knock on wood.
All right. So now we're gonna head off to the score predictions. It's time for the score predictions. We're going to start off with Colts coverage. Let me get a reasonable score prediction for this Saturday night game between the Patriots and the Colts.
All right. I got Colts 27, Patriots 23. And I think Mac Jones is going to have an opportunity to come win the game. And I don't think he gets it done. I think it's going to be that one rookie moment that everyone looks at and they're like, he's just not there yet. I think he's going to have a good game. I don't think he's going to have a bad game. But I think when it comes down to it, the Colts defense, who force the most turnovers in the entire league, will get it done. And they will force that one or the first or second interception of the night to seal the game.
Okay. All right, the great Patriot. Let me get your score prediction.
Man, it's kind of funny because our score predictions are the same. Obviously, I had the Patriots winning. I had us going 27-23. But the real funny thing, though, is that's why I'm like, are you in my head or something? Because I actually have Mac Jones finally leading his first really game-winning drive this game. I think we'll be down like 20-23, be about 3.5, 4 minutes left in the game. And I think Bill Belichick will be like, all right, Mac Jones, let's pick it up a notch, and then we'll run the football a little bit. He'll convert some third downs, milk clock a little bit, end up scoring. Let's say about 30, 45 seconds or so on the clock, and then by that time, either Winslow's an interception trying to force the ball down the field, or clock just runs out. So that's how I had. That's what's actually funny. When I was here, I said, "Wow, that's kind of crazy." It's like the same, but reverse. I think Mac Jones steps up, and Dom can attest to it. I've said it since the Bucs game when people are saying Mac Jones wasn't ready for prime time. I said, look, he went to Bama with Saban. These Bama quarterbacks, they're not the old, and he's different too. He's built for these type of moments. You know, he every challenge thrown at his way, you know, he picks it up. Shoot, he outplayed Brady that Sunday night game in his first primetime game ever. So I feel like, and I thought that we should have went for it, but that's another story for another day because that would have been his first real game-winning drive. But I think this one right here, this primetime game, Mac Jones is going to step up, and then people are actually going to look at Mac Jones and say, "Wow, he really is like that good and potentially." Just say potentially the next evolution of Tom Brady with Bill Belichick in the system.
All right, so I'm going to go 27-24. Okay. I think the Colts will kick a field goal, just playing it smart. But we will probably see a Mac Jones drive to win them the game. But it's going to be either two scenarios. I feel like it's going to be either the maniac that makes a big stop, or it's going to be Al-Qadim Muhammad to make another stop. Those two guys, I feel like Al-Qadim Muhammad can have himself a very solid game because he's having himself a good season. It won't be Kenny Moore. It won't be Isaiah Rodgers. No George Odom. No Bobby Okereke. I feel like the game might come down, or maybe even a Hurricane Doyle sighting. Somebody on that interior or that defensive line is going to make a key stop for the Colts to get this W. But we will see a Mac Jones drive at the end of the game to try to solidify this W because it's going to be a close one. I feel like it really is. But I think the Patriots will turn up in the second half and try to edge this win out at the end because the Colts, one thing they do is struggle in the second half. And that's I just feel like the Patriots will just take that advantage on Bill Belichick, but I think it'll just be a little bit too late. So,
I like that. Eric, so all of us says it comes down to a Mac Jones drive. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
Yeah, we didn't forget about Teray, but I feel like it'll be somebody else. I know Hurricane Dio, he's going to be a big brute. If we can get him to swap the football every now and then, that'd be great. But he has to get in the game as well. So that's another thing for another story. Then that's another point that we probably didn't forget. We did forget is that the rotations. When it comes to rotations, especially in a primetime game like this, You want to have the right rotation in at the exact right time in games like this. And that's one thing that the Colts probably does lack, is the lack of rotation. When you see who's supposed to be on that defensive line, who's ever making pressure, just keep them out there on the field. You don't want to switch somebody in and then they don't have the pressure that the other guy is getting. And people are saying Quiddy Pay. Hopefully he can get something done. But hey, maybe DeForest Buckner, he might make a statement tonight or Saturday. Maybe he might be. But you know what I'm saying? If the questions is in the air, the betting odds is against the Colts, but I don't like that. But hey, man, it's anybody's game at this point. They both know what's at stake. The AFC is at stake for New England, and the playoffs is at stake for the Colts. So who's going to show up, pretty much. But we appreciate you guys for tuning in tonight for this preview video. Colts coverage, let them know where they can find you, even though I'm pretty sure maybe 19K of them are probably following you already. But go ahead and let them know where they can find you.
It's at Colts_coverage. I do a lot of giveaways there. I gave away a signed TY jersey. I just finished up a ticket giveaway for the Saturday night game. So be sure to follow and you may win something.
All right. Patriot, if you want to win some Colts gear, go ahead and follow him, man. We know you like the Colts just like
already follows. He knows.
All right, the great Patriot, where can they find you?
Hey, man, y'all can go ahead and find me on Twitter. I changed my name for, personal reasons, but Chill Calvin, CALVIN 19. Follow me on Twitter if you want to see not just Patriot stuff, but just funny stuff in general. But during the Patriot games, I tweet a lot, talk about a lot of Patriot stuff, and I post a little bit funny memes with the Patriots every now and again. So if you want to just have a good laugh and everything, not even just Patriots, but just NFL and life in general, go ahead and shoot me a follow.
All right, and y'all know where to follow me. All the links are in the description. The Blue Stable links were on the website, all the podcast talks. All my links on anything you want to watch that's resolving me, even including my TikTok, in which I will post a new one tomorrow. Stay tuned for that. You might get a laugh out of it. Or follow me on Instagram, even though I do post on there, but not really. And, follow me. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. We're almost at 2.1. But appreciate you guys for tuning in. That's Patriot. That's Eric. Colts coverage. This is Marcus. And until next time, you've been Culture Shocked.